Okay, we're back again Sunday morning. I have to type in my good morning here. Yes, let me type it in here. I'm on Facebook. Good morning. Hanging out on Instagram. Let me just put a thumbs up on Instagram. I am here this morning. Good morning, and good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy August the 20th. Welcome back. We're hanging out here this morning. When you come on, type in good morning. Let me know that you're there so that I can give you a shout out. It is Sunday morning. It is time for the You Have the Power Talk. Sitting here with my coffee. Ruth has joined. Good morning. Stephanie Davis has joined. Good morning. How are you ladies this morning? Hope your morning's off to a great start. I'm sitting here with my coffee, absolutely exhausted. Went to bed early, got no sleep at all. I was so proud of myself last night. I'm like, I'm getting into this bed early so I can get at least 6 or 7 hours sleep. I literally laid there and did not sleep. But that happens sometimes. I think it's because as I get older, sometimes I just don't sleep. My mom was like that as she got older as well. But Paula is up this morning. Good morning. Again, Stephanie Davis. Michelle is on. Angela is on. Carolyn is on. Janice is on. Ladies, I so appreciate you getting up and joining me this morning. Ruth is hanging out on Instagram. She said good morning. Regina is on as well. She said grand rising. Good to see you ladies. Good to be seen. I'm feeling a little energized now. Like I said, I didn't sleep last night at all. You ever lay there and you just don't sleep? That's how it was. And I have to tell you something really funny. I'm so silly. The other day, I was cleaning up the apps on my phone. Now, this morning, I was awake because I didn't sleep. And I said, well, I'll get up when the alarm goes off, right? So the alarm didn't go off. And I'm like, well, what's up with this? It's a good thing that I woke up because I have it scheduled to go off every Sunday morning at 6:30. Well, lo and behold, guess what silly me did the other day when I was cleaning up my apps on my phone? I deleted my clock. And I was like, well, even that was so stupid. I didn't even realize what I was doing. You ever do something, you don't realize the importance of what you're doing until later, and then you have to go back and retrack your steps? Well, that's what I did. So that's my little story, a little joke on myself this morning that I deleted my clock. And again, thank God I woke up, but I'm usually awake anyway. So I had to go back and put the clock back on. But at any rate, as you come on, say good morning. Let me know that you're there because I am excited and grateful that you are up joining me this morning. It is August the 20th. Judy's on. Good morning. We are moving right along. It's supposed to be another beautiful day. Here in Chicago, we have the Air and Water Show. I didn't see it yesterday. I may go hang out at the beach today. We'll see how I feel. But anybody have anything exciting going on today? Stephanie Nichols. I have my two Stephanies on. I hope I get the opportunity to meet you two ladies one day. I have Stephanie Nichols and Stephanie Davis, both from St. Louis. So, and maybe one day I'll meet all of you in person. Some of you I already know in person anyway. But it's good to see you. And I do appreciate you getting up and joining me this morning. Happy Sunday morning. Welcome to the You Have the Power Talk. Again, as you come on, just type in good morning so that I can give you a shout out. Today, I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about freedom. Freedom. Spend just a few minutes talking about freedom. The power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. I Googled it. That's the definition. The power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. So the simplest definition, and the one that I want to focus on today, is the state of being free. Freedom as a state of mind. So when you think of freedom as a state of mind, regardless of your circumstances, you can be completely free. Freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Freedom. As a state of mind. That's what I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about. Megan is on Instagram. Good morning. Tiara is on. Joined us on Facebook. Good morning to both of you. So you can be physically trapped yet free inside because it's a state of mind. Or you can be free outwardly and feel trapped inside. Freedom means not being confined or restrained in any manner, right? But from the perspective of state of mind, one can enjoy freedom in almost all aspects. However, many of us are walking around, but we're not free. We're walking around outwardly, but inward, we're not free. We're living as prisoners. We feel stuck, trapped in our emotional selves. And some of us, is psychological and social conditioning that was placed upon us as a child. And even as an adult, the psychological and social condition has been progressively reinforced to us ever since. And as a result, we're imprisoned by our thoughts, behaviors, some cases marriages, jobs, fears, or our past. So many of us are walking around outwardly, right? But inwardly, we're prisoners. And then that was me at one point, and I've shared my story. So I started thinking about that. Why do we stay and live imprisoned instead of making changes? Now, awareness is a big key, and I'm going to get to that. But there are other reasons that people live trapped in their emotional selves. And some isolate themselves from others to protect themselves from emotional vulnerability. That's one reason why some people stay imprisoned. They feel that staying imprisoned emotionally makes them feel safe and comfortable, reducing the feelings of threat. It's like, I'm going to stay here because I don't know what's on the other side, right? And emotional imprisoned individuals might fear change and the unknown. So stepping or going beside your comfort zone could lead to uncertainty. And this can be distressing for some people. So they may choose to stick with what's familiar, even if it's unhealthy, but it feels safe to them. And people with low self-esteem might feel they don't deserve better or that they're not capable of achieving more. And this can lead to a sense of submission and willingness to tolerate negative situations, as they may believe this is all they deserve. Some people become emotionally imprisoned due to they depend on others, so due to dependency. And they may feel trapped in situations because they fear losing support or companionship. I don't want to be by myself, right? Some people feel that way. And some because of culture and social norms can play a significant role in shaping how people perceive their options. Certain cultures or communities emphasize conforming to expected roles and behaviors. And as a result, it's difficult for an individual to break free from these expectations. Some individuals may lack the necessary emotional and psychological skills to navigate change or challenge emotions. And here's the big key: lack of awareness. In some cases, individuals might not even realize they are living emotionally imprisoned. They become so accustomed to their circumstances that they don't recognize the negative impact on their emotional well-being. So again, freedom is a state of mind. And there are so many people that are walking around outwardly, but imprisoned inwardly. And there's so many different reasons: emotional vulnerability, fear of change. They're familiar with the patterns, so they stick with them. People with low self-esteem don't believe they deserve more, dependency on others. And sometimes it's cultural or social norms. And some lack the necessary emotional and psychological skills to navigate change. And some folks are walking around imprisoned and they're not even aware of it. That was me. So real freedom is eternal, right? And freedom represents the highest value in our existence. Freedom means becoming aware of what we can do to reach our full potential and doing it. So how? If you are feeling right now, if I touched on something right now, so how? How do you become free? If you feel right now that you're walking around, if you're one of these people, and that was me, I was an emotional prisoner holding myself hostage. I didn't know it at the time, but I grew up a prisoner. I grew up, I had this fear. I grew up determined to prove to the world that I could do all the things that I was once told as a child that I couldn't do. So I grew up in this mode, being defensive. I'm going to show you. And afraid that I would fail, thought I wasn't good enough. I'll be straight up. I felt that way. Always having to prove myself. I was an emotional prisoner. And I didn't know it at the time until I was in coaching school, and you've heard the story. When I realized that I was exhausted because all my life I had been fighting and fighting and fighting. And the freedom was to let go. The freedom came when I no longer felt I had to prove myself. The freedom came when I started believing I was worthy. The freedom came, in all honesty, when I realized I was a child of the Most High God and I didn't have to worry anymore. That's where my freedom started. So how do we become free? Becoming aware and taking responsibility to do something about it. And there cannot be freedom without awareness. So I wasn't even aware that I was an emotional prisoner. To be free means to have choices to choose from. And the only way to have choices is to become aware. So self-awareness gives us life choices, because once you're aware, then you can decide, what do you want to do about it? And awareness is having clarity about who you are, knowing your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, your thoughts, your attitudes, beliefs, and knowing your emotions and what triggers them. And self-awareness allows us to understand others as well, how they perceive us and our response to them. So most importantly though, this is what's so powerful. Awareness is transformational. It transforms how you view yourself. So once I became aware that I was an emotional prisoner and I was holding myself hostage, now I could decide what I wanted to do about it. Now I knew I had choices. I didn't have to stay that way. I didn't have to live that way. So being aware of our desires and what we want for our life is the first step in creating what you want, where you focus your attention, right? And reactions to determine where you go in life. So once we become aware, we are then in a position to know what to take responsibility for. I knew I didn't want to live the way that I was living anymore. Once I realized, and plus the other thing too, I was stuck. I knew there was more to my life. You know the story. I was seeking my life purpose. I knew I wanted more for my life. So I was on this journey, this self-discovery, like, what do I do? How do I move forward? But I couldn't. Number one, until I dealt with my own emotions. I had to be able to let go, to be vulnerable, to be free. And personal freedom comes by taking responsibility. Number one, you have to be aware. And then you have to take responsibility for making choices to live authentically. And taking responsibility is empowering, and it leads to freedom. And responsibility begins with knowing what you want and creating a plan to get there. Not because of a sense of duty, but from your desire, whatever it is you desire. That means decluttering your mind. So for me, you've heard the story. I was an emotional prisoner. Every time something happened, I had this internal emotional cup, and I put it in the cup. And I kept putting it in the cup. Well, guess what? One day the cup spilled over. I was exhausted. So I had to really start this journey of self-discovery. Who is this woman? Who is Eva Kennedy? That was my decluttering. Taking responsibility empowers us by making us accountable for our behavior, to think differently, critically, and handle challenges with ease. Owning our decisions provide us with a powerful focus on what we want. When we take responsibility, we take ownership of our behavior and its consequences. We accept our choices and their outcomes without blaming others or life circumstances. This makes us strong and resilient. I had to take responsibility. I knew I wanted to grow. I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted to pursue my life purpose. I wanted to learn or know what that purpose was. And the only way I could do that is by decluttering. All those things I was holding on to and trying to prove, I was fighting myself internally and didn't even realize it. And I grew up that way. That's how I grew up. I was so determined. So as a result, I didn't allow myself to feel. So the degree of freedom we experience in life is a direct proportion of the amount of responsibility we take. The more responsibility you take, the greater the peace of mind, freedom, and self-empowerment you'll experience. And you have to let go, or learn to let go of the psychological and emotional conditioning. I had to let go of those things that I'd held on to that had been said about me as a child. I had to let go and start to believe that when I was in the room, and I'll speak frankly with all the white boys at Allstate, that I belonged there. And sometimes, like being in New Hampshire, 13 white men at dinner and me, the only black person, and looking around the restaurant, only black person in the restaurant. I had to start to learn and believe that I was worthy, that I was in the room because I deserved to be in the room. Even when Gail Cabana said to me early on in my career, my first promotion, I'm dating myself, she said, you got this promotion because of affirmative action. You didn't deserve that promotion, I did. And if it wasn't for affirmative action, you wouldn't have gotten it. That was very early on in my career. True story, I felt like I had just come out of the bathroom and she approached me. I'll never forget this as long as I live because it was so painful and I held on to that. Here I am again. Just that early on in my career, I'm fighting. I'm fighting. I'll show you I deserve this promotion. But there's that fear. And I'll never forget when she said it to me. I just come out the bathroom and she came marching up to me like this, Miss Gail Cabana. And I felt like everybody was looking at me. I was so embarrassed. I felt like my bloomers had fallen down and they were around my knees. That's exactly how I felt. So I grew up just with so much I was holding on to. So you have to learn to let go because, again, the degree of freedom we experience in life is a direct proportion of the amount of responsibility we take. We have to stop looking for validation. We have to know that we're free to choose our actions, attitudes, and a way of being. We have to know, even though there may be biological, environmental influences on our thoughts, emotions, and behavior beyond our control, we have to know that doesn't define us. We have to reclaim our true selves and unburden ourselves from external expectations, belief structures, roles, duties, and obligations imposed upon us. And that's liberation. And this process of liberation doesn't mean we don't need to fulfill any external expectations or don't have belief, roles, or duty. It means that we choose them freely by making conscious life choices. So think about this. Are you a prisoner? Are you free? And if you are a prisoner, what's holding you prisoner right now? Is it your self-doubt? Maybe you lost your job, maybe fear of failure, fear of not being loved, regret, age. Some people will say I'm too old. Some people will say my time's already passed. Maybe it's your children. Addiction, shopping can be an addiction. Sadness, hurt, or grief. Are you a prisoner? Do you have limiting beliefs, self-worth, self-esteem? Maybe you lack confidence. Maybe your attitude toward yourself and others. And maybe you gave up. Some people feel like they've lost their way. It's like, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. That was me. I was stuck. But I kept praying. Jogging that lakefront, I kept talking to God. There's got to be more to my life. What's my purpose? How do I go forward? Because here's the thing. Once I left that job, because I was defined by it. And most of you, if someone asks you right now, who are you? The first thing you're going to talk about, do it. Your job. I'm Eva Kennedy. I work for Allstate Insurance Company. I'm single, whatever. But who are you? So if you took the job out, if you took the fact out that you're a parent or a spouse, who are you? What are you allowing in your life? Are you a prisoner? And if you are, ask yourself, am I the jailer? The guard? That was me. I had imprisoned myself. Am I doing it to myself? And what's stopping you from being free? And if you are a prisoner, will you take action today for freedom? If so, what action will you take? Because think about this. If you are walking around outwardly, and if you are a prisoner here, you don't belong in prison. You don't belong in prison. You have something to offer. You are needed with what you can do. You matter. Think about this. Once I realized I was an emotional prisoner, that's when the work really started. It was hard, emotional, and difficult. But just think, if I had remained a prisoner, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you today. My friend, I think, Megan's on. She's over here on Instagram, and Megan will tell you. She is the one that said, Eva, I think you should go live on Sunday mornings. I think your message would resonate with women. I was afraid. I was afraid. Like, who do you think you are? Who's going to listen to you? Like Steve Harvey, your isms aren't that good. I was afraid. But once she said it, I heard her. And every Sunday morning, I wouldn't get up. I'd think about it. I'd wake up. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? Suppose nobody listens to me? And one Sunday morning, because it was in my spirit, it was obviously something I was meant to do. I think I've been doing it for, 5 years now? I think we celebrated, I'm not sure. But one morning, that little voice, that little deep, quiet, silent, strong voice said, get up, get up, get up, do it today, do it today. And I got up and I did it today. And I think Megan was on, probably Janice and probably Ubong. I don't know, but I know those are my ride and die. So I'm sure those are the folks that were on. So think about it. If I had remained an emotional prisoner from that regard, we wouldn't be seeing each other today. So are you a prisoner? And trust me, it's ongoing. I still have fears, but I recognize I'm aware of them now, and I take responsibility. And there's still some things that I need to do. There's still work that I'm doing in certain areas. So in certain areas, I'm still a prisoner, but I'm aware and I'm working on it. Because I went through this period where I have emotional scars and I have physical scars from my surgeries, from having a mastectomy and reconstructive surgery. And for so long, I didn't see myself. But now, I see me physically and emotionally. So if there's anything that's holding you back from being the true essence of who you are, think about it. Are you a prisoner? Are you the one? Are you the guard? Are you the jailer? Are you the one that's holding yourself prisoner? And if so, help me out today. Help me help you. Help me help you, and you help me. What is one action you can take today to be free? Now, I just took an action by sharing some of my fears, right? By sharing some of my fears, I am free. So what is one action that you can take? First of all, how many of you, and be honest, this is a safe space here, okay? How many of you have ever felt like you were a prisoner? Or you may even feel like you are a prisoner today. I'll raise my hand. I'll be the first one. Let's see what kind of comments we're getting here too. Tiara says, that's why some people don't want to take that leap Don't like changes, like you said before. It's life choices, and freedom is not a bad thing to take that leap, make that freedom change. Dr. Emma, good morning. Good to see you. I had to lose everything that I was comfortable doing in order to win. I'm not afraid of starting over because I know without a shadow of a doubt that God has me. I am free and I have options. Thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Cornelius. Toya, the more responsibility to take, the more freedom you get. Tiara said that's deep. Learn to let go. I'm getting some hand raising here. Great lesson this morning. I need to hear this. Thank you. And I needed to share it too, because I still struggle with some things, but I'm aware and I'm taking responsibility. Let's see what's over here on Instagram. Ruth said, In Vogue song, Free Your Mind, and the rest will follow. Frida joined us this morning. Elizabeth joined us this morning. The capacity of some people to believe that only they are qualified. Yeah. So hopefully that was helpful this morning. And think about, and I got some hand raises. Regina, thanks for, and Tiara, Michelle, thanks for hanging in there and raising your hands. And think about this. If there's an action you can take today, what action will you take? Share it. Because see, that's freedom too. You know, most of us grew up believing that, or was taught if you show your feelings, then you're vulnerable. But vulnerability is freedom, because once you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to hide. And that's what I said. I hid my emotional and physical scars. I wouldn't even look at my physical scars. Never mind dealing with my emotional scars. But once I began this journey of freedom and self-discovery, I learned to not only look at my scars, but to love who I am. I was holding myself hostage, no one else, because I allowed words that were spoken to me by other people to penetrate, to define. No, I wasn't going to allow it to define who I am. But as a result, I was in defense mode all the time. Toya, I was scared to move to another state, but I did it 3 times until I've been in Texas 6 years, and now I'm having a new amazing clients. And now I have new amazing clients. Yeah, because in your business, you think if you move, you're going to lose everything. And that's hard. And that's what Dr. Cornelia said. She said she had to lose everything that she was comfortable doing in order to win. And she's not afraid of starting over now. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you, ladies, for getting up and joining me. A little tired, like I said this morning, because I didn't sleep, but you energized me. And Paula, thank you. I so appreciate all of you ladies, because you help me. We help each other. You help me be free. You support me with my dreams and my aspirations by showing up. I couldn't be and achieve my desires without you. And Mem said, I'm learning to let go and let God. So thank you so much for getting up and joining me. Again, I kept you a little bit longer than I planned to, but I hope this was helpful. By me even talking about freedom, right, helped me this morning. I hope it helped you. So whatever you're doing today, this fine summer day, I hope the weather is nice wherever you are in Chicago. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you back here next Sunday. Love and blessings to you and your family. I so appreciate you. Stay safe, and I'll see you back here next Sunday. Take care. Bye.